Roman Reigns just betrayed every single WWE fan with the most disgusting power move in wrestling history, and his alliance with Jacob Fatu is about to destroy everything you love about WWE. What happened at Monday Night Raw wasn't just a return, it was a hostile takeover orchestrated by the most arrogant and entitled wrestler who thinks he owns the entire company. You thought Roman's reign of terror was over? You thought we were finally free from his suffocating stranglehold on WWE programming? Wake up! This return with Jacob Fatu isn't just another storyline, it's Roman's declaration of war against every fan who dared to boo him and every wrestler who thought they could succeed without his permission. The shocking truth behind Roman's return will make you sick to your stomach. This wasn't about missing wrestling or wanting to entertain fans, this was pure revenge against a WWE Universe that had the audacity to embrace other stars while he was away. Roman Reigns came back to punish everyone who forgot their place. Jacob Fatu's involvement in this circus isn't just muscle for hire, he's the enforcer for Roman's new mission to completely dominate and humiliate every wrestler who gained momentum during his absence. Together, they're planning the most brutal campaign of destruction WWE has ever witnessed. The timing of this return is absolutely calculated and disgusting. Roman waited until other stars were finally getting their moment to shine, then swooped in like a vulture to steal their spotlight and remind everyone that WWE apparently revolves around his massive ego. But here's what will make your blood boil. Backstage sources are revealing that Roman demanded creative control over multiple storylines as part of his return deal. He's not just back to wrestle, he's back to play God with everyone else's careers and push anyone who threatens his position back down to midcard hell. The alliance with Jacob Fatu represents everything wrong with WWE's obsession with part-time stars and family politics. While hardworking full-time wrestlers grind every night for scraps, Roman gets to handpick his cousin as backup and walk straight into main event scenarios he hasn't earned through recent performance. WWE management's reaction to Roman's return demands tells you everything about their spineless corporate priorities. Instead of telling their former golden boy to wait his turn like everyone else, they immediately started rewriting entire shows around his preferences and ego demands. The locker room reaction to Roman's return has been absolutely toxic, with multiple wrestlers privately expressing fury about having their storylines derailed to accommodate someone who abandoned the company when his booking got criticized. Yet nobody can speak up publicly without facing career consequences. Roman's first promo back was a masterclass in passive-aggressive manipulation, painting himself as the victim while subtly threatening everyone who dared to succeed without his blessing. His fake humility couldn't hide the arrogance and entitlement oozing from every word. The most infuriating aspect of this return is how Roman immediately positioned himself above current storylines and championships. He didn't earn his way back, he simply declared himself relevant again and expected everyone to fall in line like the good little soldiers WWE wants them to be. Jacob Fatu's role as Roman's enforcer isn't just about physical intimidation, he's there to send a message that the Bloodline's power extends beyond wrestling into real-world consequences for anyone who challenges Roman's authority. This isn't entertainment, it's corporate bullying disguised as storyline development. Behind the scenes, Roman reportedly made it clear that his return comes with conditions that benefit only him and his chosen allies. Multiple wrestlers have had their pushes quietly cancelled to make room for Roman's comeback tour, regardless of their talent or fan support. The financial implications of Roman's return reveal WWE's complete abandonment of merit-based storytelling in favor of safe, predictable booking that caters to one performer's ego. They've essentially admitted that they can't create compelling content without relying on their golden boy's presence. What makes this situation even more disgusting is how Roman's return immediately overshadowed wrestlers who've been carrying the company during his absence. Stars who worked tirelessly to fill the void are now being treated like opening acts for Roman's grand comeback performance. The fan reaction to Roman's return with Jacob Fatu has been predictably mixed, but WWE is already spinning any negative response as great heel heat rather than acknowledging legitimate frustration with their booking choices. They're gaslighting their own audience to protect Roman's fragile ego. Medical clearance questions surrounding Roman's return have been conveniently ignored by WWE's publicity machine, but sources suggest his time away wasn't entirely voluntary. The company may be rushing him back before he's fully ready to compete at the level his position demands. International wrestling promotions are watching Roman's return with disgust, seeing it as another example of WWE's inability to create new stars without falling back on established names. His comeback represents everything wrong with American wrestling's stagnant creative approach. The most shocking revelation about Roman's return involves backstage politics that make Game of Thrones look like a children's story. His alliance with Jacob Fatu isn't just about family loyalty, it's about consolidating power to prevent any other wrestler from achieving the level of success Roman believes belongs exclusively to him. Training footage leaked from the Performance Center allegedly shows Roman working with Jacob Fatu on coordinated attacks designed to injure specific wrestlers who gained prominence during his absence. This isn't wrestling preparation, it's planning actual violence against perceived threats. The corporate communications surrounding Roman's return reveal a company so desperate for ratings that they're willing to sacrifice long-term storytelling credibility for short-term nostalgia pops. WWE has officially given up on building new stars in favor of recycling old ones indefinitely. Roman's private meetings with WWE executives reportedly involved ultimatums about creative direction and roster positioning that would make a Mafia Don blush. He didn't return as an employee, he came back as a dictator with the power to make or break careers based on personal grudges. The psychological evaluation of Roman's return motivations reveals a performer so consumed with maintaining his position that he's willing to destroy the entire roster's morale to stay on top. His partnership with Jacob Fatu is just the beginning of a systematic campaign to eliminate all competition. Legal experts are suggesting that Roman's backstage demands and influence over other wrestlers' careers could constitute workplace harassment if they're as extensive as sources indicate. WWE's willingness to accommodate these demands shows their complete disregard for employee rights and fair treatment. The ripple effects of Roman's return are already destroying years of careful character development for multiple wrestlers who are now being repositioned as supporting players in his comeback story. Careers that took years to build are being sacrificed on the altar of Roman's ego. Former WWE writers are speaking out about the creative process being completely hijacked by Roman's return demands, with entire storylines being scrapped or rewritten to accommodate his preferences. The company has essentially handed creative control to a performer rather than professional writers. The most heartbreaking aspect of this situation is watching talented wrestlers who finally had their moment in the spotlight get pushed back into the shadows because Roman decided he was ready to reclaim his throne. Their hard work means nothing compared to his star power and backstage influence. Jacob Fatu's transformation from independent wrestling standout to Roman's personal enforcer represents the complete corruption of a talented performer by WWE's political machine. Instead of being allowed to develop his own identity, he's been reduced to muscle for his cousin's power plays. The timing of major storyline announcements coinciding with Roman's return isn't coincidental, it's a calculated effort to overshadow any negative reaction to his comeback by burying it under an avalanche of other news. WWE's propaganda machine is working overtime to control the narrative. Social media manipulation surrounding Roman's return involves coordinated campaigns to amplify positive reactions while suppressing criticism. The company is literally trying to gaslight fans into believing this return is universally welcomed when the reality is much more complicated. The international wrestling media is already calling Roman's return the death of meritocracy in WWE, pointing to his immediate elevation above wrestlers who've been consistently performing at high levels. His comeback represents everything wrong with American wrestling's star system. Behind-the-scenes footage allegedly shows Roman reviewing and approving storylines for other wrestlers, essentially giving him veto power over the entire roster's creative direction. This level of influence goes far beyond what any single performer should have in a professional wrestling organization. The most disgusting revelation involves Roman's reported demands for specific opponents to be made examples of through booking designed to embarrass and demoralize them. He's not just back to wrestle, he's back to settle scores and destroy anyone who dared to succeed in his absence. WWE's medical staff has reportedly been instructed to clear Roman for activities that other wrestlers would be held out for, showing preferential treatment that could have serious safety implications. The company is willing to risk everyone's health to accommodate their returning star's demands. The financial terms of Roman's return deal allegedly include unprecedented creative control clauses that give him influence over roster decisions, storyline directions, and even hiring and firing recommendations. He's essentially become WWE's shadow CEO with the power to shape the entire company's direction. Corporate insiders are describing the backstage atmosphere since Roman's return as toxic and demoralizing, with many wrestlers considering their options elsewhere rather than dealing with the political nightmare his presence has created. WWE's locker room is in complete chaos. The precedent being set by Roman's return with Jacob Fatu is absolutely terrifying for every other wrestler in the company. If one performer can essentially hold the entire organization hostage to his demands, what hope do others have for fair treatment or career advancement based on merit? Industry analysts are predicting that Roman's return will ultimately damage WWE's long-term prospects by creating a culture where political maneuvering matters more than talent or work ethic. The company is sacrificing its future for short-term ratings boosts and familiar storylines. The most shocking aspect of this entire situation is how WWE has essentially admitted they can't create compelling television without Roman Reigns, despite having a roster full of incredibly talented performers who proved they could carry the company during his absence. This return is an insult to every wrestler who stepped up when needed. As the wrestling world processes the implications of Roman's return with Jacob Fatu, one thing is absolutely certain: this isn't just about bringing back a popular star, it's about fundamentally changing WWE's power structure in ways that could permanently damage the company's ability to create new stars and compelling storylines. The Roman Empire has returned, and everyone else better bow down or face the consequences.